today let's take a look at a few lists that have been stomping tournaments flat, with a small selection of some of the scariest things that you can expect to run into in Warhammer 40K. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where today I thought it would be interesting just to take a quick look at some of the things that are winning tournaments at the moment. Obviously it's both the list and the player that wins an event, but I do think it's interesting to see what's topping out tournaments these days, as it often tends to highlight some of the strongest things in the meta, and perhaps shines a bit of a light on hidden gems in some codexes that aren't seen quite so often on the top tables. All of these were found on the Best Coast Pairings app, which can be a handy resource for looking at tournament results, though it does cost a yearly subscription if you want to see past lists. In any case, let's jump right in and take a look at the first one. First up, we have the Drukhari out in force, as they most certainly have been at a whole load of grand tournaments recently. This one by Jeremiah Bergdale swept the Dead Primarch GT, and like a lot of the very scary Dark Eldar list at the moment, it combines elements from the Covens, Cabals and the Witch Cults. It's got 3 patrols, and they get all of the command points refunded by their special detachment rules, a Dark Technomancer Coven led by Drukhari, a Blackheart Cabal, and a Cult of Strife Witch detachment. As is usually the case with these Dark Eldar lists, it combines quite a lot of units all piling into raiders, and all of these raiders are in the Blackheart Cabal, which allows them to reroll 1 hit roll with that powerful Dark Lance shot, and with damage D3+3 that makes for some very efficient anti-tank firepower. These raiders are all quite considerably upgraded as well, taking the powerful leadership debuff of Grizzly Trophies, which makes you -2 leadership when you're next to the raiders, and they also all pack Phantasm Grenade launchers as well, which can allow for a decent chunk of mortal wounds against these debuff leadership's units. In terms of raider contents, the 3 have arguably some of the strongest melee characters in the game. Drukhari, who's an absolute beatstick against everything, a Master Archon with Hatred Eternal and the Jinn Blade, that's the one that gives him a bucket of attacks and allows him to reroll all hits and wounds at damage 3, and that Succubus with the Triptych Whip and Precision Blows, who will blend any infantry that you have and often punch through a good amount of mortal wounds. There's also a buffing Archon about as well, with Labyrinthine Cunning to farm some command points, and the Writ of the Living Muse for allowing rerolls 1 to hit and wound on the aura around him. For options to pile into all these raiders, the Dark Technomancer's Homunculi give you 3 units of racks with 2 liquefier guns in each. With +1 wound and +1 damage, these things are pretty efficient against most targets, and are also fairly tough OBSEC units to boot. There's 2 8-man units of Courts of the Archon, with 4 Slith and 4 Urguls in. They're fairly efficient damage on the charge like most Drukhari units, but these guys are also very tough to deal with as well. Every model having 3 wounds and a 5+ feel no pain. They give the list a bit more staying power. There's then a unit of 5 Incubi that would synergize amazingly with Drukhari and his +1 to wound, a unit of Kabbalite Warriors with a Phantasm Grenade launcher, which could maybe be used to camp objectives, and 2 big hefty units of Witches with +1 strength from Grave Lotus. Basically tons and tons of melee nastiness that can pour out of those raiders and destroy anything that gets in their way. Finally, for a bit of fast-moving support, there's a couple of units of Scourges with Shredders, a couple of cheap 80-point infantry units that can just point and delete at enemy infantry, and a very big unit of 14 Hellions with the Hypex combat drug for a bit of extra movement, who are pretty decent all-round melee and shooting combatants, and also if they move over anything, then they're going to take an absolute ton of mortal wounds from their slash attacks. With all the leadership and mortal wounds going around, they also pack a Phantasm Grenade launcher as well. Overall, looks like a well-rounded and scary Drukhari army list. Loads of threats to have to try and outwit and deal with. Almost everything in the list can punch above its points in melee, even if it is a bit fragile. And if they do have an enemy unit that they just can't deal with, they could potentially just move a raider up there, give it -2 leadership, and then bombard it with a bunch of mortal wounds from those Phantasm Grenade launchers. Certainly looks like it will be fun, fast, and thoroughly murderous to play with. Next up, I thought it was worth talking about one of the first big victories for Imperial Knights in the whole of 9th edition. Paul MacArthur, who won the war in the Berg GT with this, has led a force of House Krast Knights forward with 2 Questor Magairas, a Night Warden, and 4 Armigers. House Krast is Mechanicus, which allows you to regen 1 wound per turn per knight, and gives you much better accuracy on the charge, re-rolling all hits, which can combo pretty nicely with the Siege Claws and Thunderstrike Gauntlets on the big knights. The Magaira Knights are perhaps the most interesting choice in the list. When the Forge World Imperial Armor Compendium dropped, they became perhaps the strongest knight chassis out of any of them, profile-wise being about the same as the standard Questors from the Codex, but having some really nice armament on top of that. Their lightning cannons are very general purpose, 8-shot weapons with strength 7, AP -2 and damage 3, and they also even get exploding 6s on top of that. Their phase plasma fusils add an extra few strength 7 damage 2 shots, and when they get up close they can attack with a twin Brad Cleanser, which is an assault 2d6 weapon, wounding on 2s with a damage of 3. For the points, this guy just spits out an absolutely fantastic amount of damage 3 attacks, and even in melee that continues, with the Hecaton Siege Claw allowing the knight to make 12 attacks at AP -2 and damage 3, all of which will be re-rolling to hit with Crast. As if that all weren't enough for 480 points, it also gets to ignore cover with its ranged attacks because of its prey sight. This thing competes very well against the Codex Knights. In terms of the specific choices on this list, one of the Megaras takes Knight Seneschal for extra attacks, one of them takes the specific House Crast relic, the Headsman's Mark. That one gives it +1 damage against hard targets, so potentially a damage 4 lightning cannon when fired at vehicles, and the Night Warden eschews the popular Endless Fury relic to double down on Crast and be focused on being a bit more of a melee beast, taking Sanctuary for the invul save in combat, and Landstrider to be able to get that bit of extra movement. Landstrider plus full tilt can pull off some insanely long charges if needed. Finally, to round up, maybe secure some home objectives and provide a few extra threats where you don't need a big knight to engage in combat, there are 2 Armiger Warglaives, again much more powerful in Crast, and then 2 Armiger Helverins, presumably to camp on home objectives. Even though I do really quite like those Megara Knights, Imperial Knights certainly aren't the easiest faction to win with in 9th edition, which is why pretty much no one has managed to win anything significant with them so far. They give up easy secondaries with Titan Hunter, and really don't score primary objectives easily either, due to not having any OBSEC at base. Certainly a big hats off to Paul for managing to make them work. Finally, last but not least, we have Matt Evans's Kraken Tyranids, who swooped a Harridan in to win the Olympus Games GT. The Harridan is basically a monstrous Tyranid flyer, 700 points worth of muscle, and that gets you 34 wounds, and -1 to hit because it's a flyer, and it packs a devastating dire biocannon. It gets 2 of those, that means essentially 16 shots at strength 10, AP -3 and damage 3, and then it can even get +1 to wound on those with its frenzied metabolism special rule. Not too bad at all in my opinion, that's going to put some serious hurt on a couple of targets, even if you are paying quite a lot of points for the privilege. And then it's no slouch in melee whatsoever, with 5 strength 10 attacks in melee that have a flat damage of 6. I can see how that might be quite intimidating on a model that moves 20 inches per turn. To make it a little bit more durable and a pain to deal with, this one's also got the Dermic Symbiosis adaptive physiology. That gives it a 5+ invul save, and also counts as having double the amount of wounds for the purposes of its damage table. Despite all this, I still don't think that the Harridan has amazing damage output for the colossal 700 points that you invest, but there certainly is a massive amount of value to having one big unit that's just basically not going to get killed in any way efficiently. 34 toughness 8 wounds at -1 to hit and a 5+ invul. I'm sure that could feel kind of pointless to shoot at. In any case, while you have this world's biggest distraction Carnifex winging around the table, it might at least draw quite a lot of fire from the rest of the Tyranid force. There's the Swarm Lord here, with Onslaught and Paroxysm, and of course he can double move one unit around the board, perhaps one of the Dimacherons. A Brood Lord with Catalyst and the Resonance Barb, which could potentially put a 5+ Feel No Pain on that Harridan as well. A bunch of bodies for holding down objectives, 2 units of Ripper Swarms, 2 units of Termagants with Devourers, which have some pretty decent anti-infantry shooting in their own right, and you can double shoot them with a stratagem. A couple of cheap Lictors that can pop up and deploy Scramblers, or just generally be a nuisance to the enemy army, and then 2 of the powerful Dimacherons, generally all-round solid melee monsters. I did make an entire video about the Dimacheron if you do want to give it a search. They're basically just a very helpful combo of being fast, tough, and very killy in melee. Overall, just looks very solid and very intimidating. That mighty Harridan winging around smashing things, while the Dimacherons get up in your face, units that can absolutely eat 1 unit per turn. Then you've got a whole bunch of bodies to hold down the objectives, while you're frantically trying to deal with those 3 big damage dealers. It's quite cool to have another fancy Forge World model such as the Harridan see some success. It's certainly not one of the most commonly played units. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed a quick discussion of a few armies that have been winning tournaments these days. As always, if you do have any other insights as to the list or how they were played, feel free to comment them down in the comments below. I'm always appreciative of any further insights. I'll certainly be aiming to keep up some coverage of tournament results as they come in, so if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I do try and keep regular 40k things coming pretty much every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying the videos and you'd like to help support the channel, I would just like to mention one way which you can do so, which is my Element Games affiliate link, which you can find down in the video description below. Element Games is a discount retailer based in the UK, and they sell Games Workshop's products with a small discount, usually between 10 and 20% off. If you were thinking about ordering in any models in the near future, then if you click through that link and order through them, a small amount of the money goes to help support Auspex Tactics, and it doesn't cost you any more whatsoever when you buy. It can just be a way to help support the channel if you were thinking about ordering in some models anyway. If you're in the USA or Canada, I also have an Amazon affiliate link that works in the exact same way. Order anything through there, a small amount goes to help support the channel, it doesn't cost you any more on the order, and it doesn't matter whether you're buying Warhammer or something completely different. A big thank you to you guys who have been using those links, it does help to keep the channel going. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.